Hello, beloved brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Spiritual Growth Journeys. And summer is almost over. A lot of kiddos are back to school. Um, Summer ends like the 21st of this month. So you only have a few weeks left to enjoy your summer wherever you are in the world. And if you have kids in school, it's a little hard, obviously. But wherever you are in the world, I hope you do enjoy your last few weeks of summer that we have left before we start getting into the fall, rainy, cold weather. So today I have a teaching for you. But before I help all of you with this information, because I am an Ascension teacher. My best-selling book, Ascension 101, A Roadmap for Your Soul, is really pertinent for everybody to have a copy of for their ascension, because I cover so much ground in that book. It's literally like the Ascension Bible. You really need to have that information to help you with your ascension. It's very, very important. But today I'm going to be teaching on an ascension subject, and we're going to be talking about one of the really major things that's blocking everybody's ascension right now in the what we call the spiritual community, the truther community, the patriot community, the awake people, the community of people who are going to be ascending, who are awake. So, or shall we say, the people who are staying here on planet Earth, and not getting booted out to that 3D Nibiru kind of planet that everybody's going to get booted out to, who's not ready to ascend. So today we're going to talk about that. But before I do, I have kind of an important announcement and some stuff to share. And I also am going to share a story that's related to the teaching I'm doing. And we'll have a little fun here today, hopefully. And this time I'm not on a schedule where I have to get off of here right away and feel pressured to talk really fast or anything like that, because some of the times I make these videos and I'm on my way to an appointment or have an appointment or have something going on. But right now I don't have anywhere to go except to bed. It's evening time here, and it's 8:12 p.m. my time, and I usually don't go to sleep until like at least 11. So I've got a lot of time, which is cool. So right now I am wearing this Divine Feminine bracelet on my wrist here that was created for me by the beautiful and talented crystal jewelry artist and healer, Linda Poock. And Linda is in South Carolina. She is a wonderful spiritual grandma who creates this amazing things. And her link to all of her jewelry is actually in my video description. So if you go down, you scroll all the way down, you'll see the jewelry link to her Etsy page, which is like Crystal Caverns store or something like that or Crystal Caverns shop, something like that on Etsy. If you want to get, this is the Divine Feminine Protection Bracelet. It's got selenite, it's got black tourmaline, and it's got rose quartz for divine feminine empowerment. And then there's also a masculine one that's got, instead of rose quartz, it's got the tiger's eye. But that's my line that Linda created for me and Yeshua and Miriam, because we wanted to have these specific things we could send my clients to go buy. And I have pretty badly arthritic hands, so I'm not able to create jewelry like that anymore. I mean, every once in a blue moon, I'll make some jewelry for myself, but I can't make it for other people, like massive quantities of it, because of my hands. So I asked Linda to create this line for me, and all the money, of course, goes to her. For the line doesn't go to me. It's not about me making money. It's about me having a specific protection crystal thing that I can refer my clients to go buy to help them. And so that's the important thing. So I just wanted to share that. And so I'm wearing this today because first of all, for myself to help me out a little here today, but also I wanted to discuss with you all a big announcement. And that is, we changed the date on our women's healing and spiritual retreat that's going to be in Asheville, North Carolina. It was supposed to be in April, but we've changed it. It's now going to be on the summer solstice, which will give you, if you attend, you are going to receive triple the amount of healing that you would have received if you just went on any old day of the year, because solstice is kind of one of those gateway days where it opens up a lot of manifesting possibilities to manifest good or bad. I mean, the dark people, the dark ones, the occult, the dark cult, the Illuminatis, the cabal, they use events like the solstices and stuff to do rituals that are dark and evil and bad. But there are people of the light who use these events and these gateways to create beautiful, wonderful, loving, amazing things, things that are beneficial for ourselves and humanity. And so we are now doing our retreat June 20th, which is a Friday all day, June 21st all day, which is Saturday, June 22nd all day Sunday, and then half of the day on the 23rd. So it's the 20th through the 23rd of 2025. That is when we are doing our next women's retreat. And we have priced it very reasonable. I have a lot of friends who offer these same kind of retreats and charge anywhere from $2,500 on up to $30,000. I actually had a neighbor who would regularly make 30 grand per person on a weekend retreat. Of course, he was a business coach, which is slightly different, but still it's a lot of money for a weekend retreat. And we're talking not including food or not including transportation, and not including hotels or accommodations, just the retreat. The majority of people for these weekend retreats usually charge a minimum of 2,700 on up, usually 5 grand, somewhere around there. A lot of them charge. We are only charging 1,555, 1,555. 555 is a number that represents change. And when you come to this retreat, you go out a completely different person. We have testimonials from all 28 of the ladies who attended my last retreat, basically going on and on about all the, the things that they received, all the healing. They made new friends. They had a lot of fun. They got to spend time with me and Sarah and Rosemary, and we did our magic on them and taught them a lot of stuff, taught them to heal like Yeshua heals, taught them all kinds of good stuff. And this year we only have 20 spots because our venue is smaller, and it's in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park area. We're not going to be right in the national park, but we'll be close to it. The cool thing about this retreat is you can bring your husbands and your children if you want, or your families, and they can go out sightseeing for the 3 days that were 3.5 days that were in the retreat. And then you'll see them at dinner time every day. And you can come in for a whole week, and then you can go sightseeing with them on the days we're not doing the retreat. In fact, our goal is to be there for at least a week ourselves, because we're going to go be tourists and do some sightseeing ourselves, because there's really a lot to do in Asheville, North Carolina. They've got water slide parks. They've got the national park, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. They have the Biltmore Estate. They've got all sorts of they have zoos, they have museums, lots of museums. If you'd like haunted stuff, you can do haunted tours of Asheville. There's all kinds of antebellum mansions from the Civil War that you can, tour in that area. There's just a lot to do. Asheville is also a huge spiritual center. There's lots of spiritual and healing retreats all over Asheville area that are permanent year-round places that people go, and stay in a bunk bed at a retreat center or whatever. With ours, you're not going to do that. You're going to stay in a hotel 10 minutes from where the venue is. It's a 10-minute drive to our venue from the hotels. And like I said, you're going to receive triple the healing, because we're doing it right on the summer solstice, and we only have 20 spots. Several of those have already filled. I will not be surprised if this is all full up within the next few months. So if you want to join me in Asheville in June, you need to sign up right away. The website is listed in the description below. I have a link to that, so you can go on and you can read all about the classes we're teaching. I'm going to be teaching you how to use your voice for healing, your own sacred voice. I'm going to be teaching you how to use what do I want to call it? Meditation. I have a meditation class I'm doing on basic meditation, and I'm also going to guide you through a meditation. We're going to do that. Sarah and Rosemary have their own classes that they have set up. We'll have Q&A with me. We've got a lot of stuff. We're going to be doing a dragon ceremony out in the woods at I think a stone circle or something near the famous dragon tree that's out there in the woods. There's just a lot of things that we're going to be doing that are really incredible. And for any of you who have taken Stellar, my friend Stellar Fairbairn, she had a Voice of the Priestess that was like a vocal training class that she put on, that I took. I actually took that class. The class that I'm teaching at the retreat is completely different. It's not the same as hers. So if you're thinking, well, I already took Stellar's voice healing, class or whatever, it's okay, because what her and I teach are completely different. In fact, everything I teach always is different from everyone else. My stuff is all channeled and it's always unique to me. All of my healing modalities I've created that I do on my clients. Just did another one today on actually one of my sisters did the healing. And we were talking about the fact that this is not a modality that I'm allowed actually to teach other people. It's one that's just for me that I do. But every now and then, some of the modalities that I come up with, I do teach you guys. So you're getting original modalities that nobody else has out there. But then I have some that are just for me only to do on my clients, and I'm not supposed to share them. It's just specific to me. So I just wanted you all to know that, because there's a lot of people who've signed up for Stellar's voice classes in the past, and mine is very different. So you're not going to be overlapping that. One thing about me that I love about the work I do is I am not in competition with anyone out in the world, like any of the other spiritual teachers, psychics, light workers. I have my own way of doing things that is unique to everyone. So that makes me in my own little niche, as they say, and I have zero competition with that. The only thing I'd be competing over is people's money or dollars, I guess. Because of course, if somebody only has $100 and they want to work with a healer and they have 5 choices of healers, they're only going to be able to pick one of those healers. They can't work with all 5. So that's the only thing I compete over, is the fact people have limited financial resources, and there's a lot of wonderful healers on this planet that are amazing. But everything I do is unique. There is nobody competing with me, with the exception of there's one thing, and that is I've had a couple people steal my classes in the past. I've had people like sign up for my classes and then steal all the information and go put it off as their own and teach their own class with all my information, saying it was their class. There's a few evil people, and they will get their asses kicked very soon. Those people who do that kind of stuff will not be allowed to stay on this planet, and they're going to get a major kick in the ass for coming against me specifically. So I'm not worried about it. I don't need to do anything to them, because God will take care of their sorry little butt for me. So there's always that too. The people who are the thieves and the unscrupulous, lying sacks of doo-doo people that are out on this planet that we live on. All right. So now that that's out of the way, I hope you will, first of all, I hope you all, ladies out there, will sign up for this. I've had a lot of men say, why don't you allow men? The reason I don't allow men is because, well, number one, this is very specific for divine feminine empowerment. And we talk about women's issues. We're talking about menopause and our cooches and the whole 9 yards. We're talking about all kinds of highly personal things. Okay. We don't need guys there, because we are having sister talk, and we are sharing about very personal things that are only for women, for women's ears and women to share. And so that's one reason. Reason number 2, in the past, I've been doing this work now for 20 years or more, and I've always offered stuff to men. And every time I offer it to the men, I have men bitching and saying all the time, why don't you offer the blah, blah, blah for men? Why is it women only? Well, guess what, guys? Because the women actually, you know how the term shit or get off the pot? Well, the women actually shit. Sorry. I know that's potty talk. Sorry about that, but it's a really good explanation for what is going on. The women actually pull the trigger and they do it. Women sign up for women's only things. When I offer men's only events, or I even offer co-ed events, I don't have guys sign up. I had my group coaching that I had a few token guys in there. I had maybe 2, 3 guys that would show up in the multi-sex one that was, you know, women and men combined. I'd have like 2 or 3 guys. That was it, which sounds like it's good, but it's actually not good, because we're talking, I have thousands of followers, and out of my thousands of followers, 3 guys showed up. So what does that tell you? And then I've had, where I offered a men's only counseling group, or men's only, just different men events. 0 signed up, 0, because they all like to bitch about how I don't have things for men, but then when I offer them, they don't sign up. So I will not, I don't bother anymore. It's not worth my energy to put my energy somewhere where they're not interested. They just like to complain about it and assert their ego. It's very egoic, you know. Oh, you have to have a man sing too. And it's like, no, I don't. I can have whatever the hell I want to have. It's my business, not yours. But when I have tried to be nice and offer it for you dudes, you don't sign up. And it's happened for years and years. Every year, every time I try, I've even had guys say, please give it one more try. I promise we'll sign up. And then they don't show up. Those guys that all said, I promise I'll sign up. I promise I'll sign up. And where are they when it's time to sign up? They're gone. They're gone. They're not there. So anyway, so that's the story behind the women's retreat, and why it's not a dude's retreat or a co-ed retreat or anything like that. We want to be able to share our very personal things. A lot of the women have husbands that are not awake and want to be able to talk about that, and, you know, stuff like that. So, and then of course, all the personal health things that are specific to women, we don't really, you know, we don't like guys listening in on all that. So, all right. So let's move on and up and out, as they say. So the subject I want to talk to you about today is the number one thing that, or it's not the number one thing, but it's one of the many things that are blocking everybody's ascension right now. And that is expectations. But I should have brought water in here. Oh, the other thing, well, I guess I need to do this too. This might help me. I'm going to put this on the studio on. Okay, we're going to clear the energy for everybody, especially because I was talking about some kind of heavy stuff there. Clearing the energy with my Tibetan bell. Did you know that the bells heal people? You actually receive healing from these bells, and demons and reptilians cannot handle the sound of them. So if you were to walk around a city and ring one of these special kind of bells that are made out of usually either brass or copper or bronze, they're usually either made out of bronze, brass, or copper, sometimes silver. If you ring these things in a city, the reptilians will go freaking nuts. They can't handle the sound of bells. That is why the Nazis and all the bad guys went through all the churches during World War I believe, and they confiscated all these bells out of all these churches everywhere and used them to make weapons and different things, because they can't handle the sound. The reptilians can't handle it, but also because the bells were healing people, and they don't want you to be healed. They want you to suffer and die so they can shrink the population and do their terrible stuff that they do. So we're going to clear that energy a little. That's another. It makes a different sound when you strike it with this thing that goes with it. And you can get these on Amazon, and all you have to do is look up Tibetan bell, and there'll be a whole bunch that pop up, and pick the one with the best ratings. That's what I did. It's really that simple. So, but this is handmade by a monk in Tibet. I'm going to clear all the energy. We're also going to ask Archangel Michael and all of our guardian angels of everyone watching this video to place protection around myself, all of my equipment here, and the space I'm sitting in. I ask you to place protection around all of the people watching this video today, the space they're sitting in, and all of their electronic devices, in the name of Yeshua. And so it is done. All right. So expectations, your expectations, it's actually in my Ascension 101 book. I have a chapter on how to be happy the rest of your life. And I talk in that chapter a little bit. I touch on the fact that one of the things that'll block your happiness is expectations. So I try really, really hard to not have an expectation. Once in a blue moon, I will have an expectation, and when I do that, I always get screwed every time. You wind up getting let down, is what happens. But I want to tell you all a beautiful story. So I went with my son to the Lindsay, what's her last name? Sterling, Lindsay Sterling concert. She's a famous violinist. We went to her concert. My son has loved her for several years. He's always wanted to go to her concerts, and we've always wound up being away on vacation or busy or a family event or something, not able to go to her concerts. And so this time around, I got lucky, and for the first time ever, I bought tickets to her concerts. Well, I did not know anything about this girl. I saw her play on a couple of videos and TV shows. I saw her play violin. I thought she was out of this world. I love the violin. It's very high frequency. It raises your vibration and heals your body to listen to violin music. If you want to listen to a really good healing piece, listen to Vivaldi's Four Seasons or any of the music by Vivaldi, any of violin concertos by Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, any of those guys, any of the violin or the cello. Cello is another instrument, really high frequency. If you listen to somebody like Hauser, or he's part of two cellos, these kind of guys that play these instruments, your body, mind, and spirit will receive healing listening to this music. It's very, very high frequency. And so I listened to her a few times. I didn't know if she was good or bad. Here's the problem. A huge percent of the people in the music industry have signed Luciferian contracts with the dark cult, and they have to do terrible things like sacrifice a family member, their firstborn, or some other child, or who knows what, in order to get riches and fame. And then they do all kinds of pushing of the symbols, making all their triangle symbols and all their things they do, and they're putting their hand over their eye or covering their eye, and all these crazy things they do, and then dressing in all this satanic stuff and doing satanic videos, satanic concerts. You go to their concerts and the frequency is horrible, and they put all these images up that are really satanic. I don't remember what concert it was I went to with my son. It was some heavy metal concert, and all the images and the sound of everything was just making me sick. I actually had to walk out myself and leave him by himself and walk out of the building because it was just making me sick. But basically, most of these people in this industry are just uber satanic. Well, because I don't know much about her or her story, I didn't know what to expect. So I just went with zero expectation. And I do that because I know that having an expectation is going to block my happiness. It's going to cause me to get let down. It's going to cause me stress. It's going to lower my frequency. It's going to block me like crazy. So I don't do it. So I went to her concert with no expectation, and let me tell you all, I was freaking blown away. So first of all, the name of this concert, of this tour she's doing, is called Duality, okay? The only two kinds of people that are going to do a concert tour named Duality. Number one would be somebody like myself, a light worker, a spiritual teacher, a healer, a yogi, guru, somebody who's in the spiritual, somebody who's spiritually awake and teaching. They would call something duality, because of course Yeshua talks about our world of duality all the time, and duality is what's caused a disaster on this planet. The whole system of duality, it's all about the matrix and separation and division, and it's bad, right? So I'm sitting here going, okay, well, the name of her concert tour is Duality. So either she is a really advanced spiritual person who knows her shit, or she's another one of those satanic dumbasses who is inverting everything. Okay, they're using the word, and then they're going to invert everything and cause chaos and do dark magic rituals in their concert, like all these other people who I'm not going to name because I don't want to get lawsuited. But you know who they all are. I don't have to name them for you all. You know who these mostly women are, and some men, a few men, but mostly women that are doing all this satanic stuff. So anyway, so I get to the concert, the music starts, and it starts with this voice. It's all black. Everything on the stage is black and kind of creepy. And it starts with this synthetic, computerized voice. It sounded like the Matrix, and it was like, sounded like AI, and it was just very creepy. And I'm sitting here going, oh shit, she's one of them. And then it gets going, and it gets better and better, and the music is so beautiful, and she's so talented. She did ballet, she did acrobatics, and in between each song there is a British guy's voice giving a spiritual lesson, an ascension spiritual kind of lesson, and in a way where it makes it relatable to all those people sitting in the audience who were Christians and Jewish and atheists and Native Americans, because this was actually at a Native American casino place, you know, so there are a lot of Native Americans there. So basically, they were doing spiritual teachings in between each song. And as the concert progressed, it went from dark to light. So what happened is everything was dark, and they all wore black, and there was some red, and it was kind of creepy. And then it got lighter and brighter, and then they had one scene that I tried to videotape, and my darn camera didn't work for me for some reason. It was so weird, it got blurred out. That was the weirdest thing. But they had an angel coming down, and all this sparkly, like, I mean, it really looked like a real angel, and she was twirling around and around. And then they had all the dancers that looked like little angels around her. And but the whole thing went from dark to light, and then the whole concert was just light and bright, and then it got even brighter, and then they brought in all the animals from all the world. And I might get emotional when I'm talking about this, so I'm just going to warn you, because it was very emotional for me to be at this thing. So try to keep myself together here. Basically, she is an amazing freaking light worker. Let me tell you guys, she is so amazing. She came out and she said, you notice how we had the dark, and then now it's light. She said, I'm trying to show you about bringing the light into the darkness, and how everything that's dark can be turned to light. And then she started telling her spiritual story of her spiritual development and what she's been going through. And she's telling this personal spiritual stuff to like whole audience of all kinds of people who have no freaking clue about any of this spiritual stuff. And so it was amazing. She's telling how a year ago she was in the same location, and at that time her boyfriend had been cheating. She had this serious relationship, and the guy cheated on her and broke her heart, and her whole life was devastated, and she went through just a series of terrible things, and she went through a huge spiritual crisis and went through all this stuff. And I mean, she had a dark night of the soul basically, and she's explained everything in such beautiful ways that was for what we call the layman, the people who don't understand, the people who don't understand spiritual stuff like all of you do, everybody who follows me here. If you were in the audience, you would have been like, oh yeah, I totally get this. But there were people sitting there, and she explained it in such a way. And she told her story, and she talked about how what saved her life, because she started having panic attacks and anxiety attacks all the time. And I know what that's like, because I've been there. I had, after I gave birth to my children, it was really hard for me to be a mom and not have a mom or dad around me to support me and help me and guide me to be a mom, because children don't come with a you know, a manual, a child raising manual. You're kind of flying by the seat of your pants. So I went through a period of time where I was having panic attacks and anxiety, and I totally get it. And the thing that saved my life was breath work, meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy, reprogramming my mind for positive thinking. That's what she started talking about. So she said breath work saved her life. She said somebody told her about it, and she's like, oh, that's some woo-woo thing. And they invited her to a class, and she tried it out, and now she's been practicing it for like 3 years. Because it was, I guess, 3 years ago when she was having all these panic attacks and stuff. And so she literally taught us. First, she gave the whole audience a lesson on how to do specific breathing thing that I like to do. Because I'm actually a teacher of this. I'm a certified meditation instructor, and I'm a certified in breath work and all that. I teach all that. And so she was teaching what's called box breathing, which is you breathe in for 4, you hold it for 4, you breathe out for 4, and then you hold it for 4, and then you breathe in for 4, out for 4. So you keep doing 4, 4, 4. It's called box breathing. It's one of many methods for dealing with a panic attack, dealing with anxiety. And so she taught the audience how to do it, and then she played her violin. She did a whole thing with dancing and playing the violin, and she had us close our eyes and just listen to the violin music and just feel it. And she taught us about how to feel the music and how to feel the energy. And then she kind of did a guided meditation where she did in, out with the breathing, and she'd start out and go in for 4, out for, hold it for, and then she'd just go in, out, and then eventually people would she'd say breathe, just breathe, and then we would breathe. And she did this whole lesson. And then they had, in between each piece, they had this British guy's voice come on and talk about different spiritual concepts. Like one of the ones was about having to do with the clay pot that breaks into a million pieces. And back in the days of Egypt or whenever, they would use solid gold to like put it all back together again. They would mend it with solid gold, and it would actually wind up being stronger than it was before. So the lesson was about, can you be completely broken apart and whole at the same time? You can be all broken and be whole at the same time, because all of us have all these terrible things that happen to us in our lives, and we pick up all the pieces of our lives. And the dark night of the soul is all about when you go through it and you fall apart and you go through this horrible thing. And then when you come out the other end, you are stronger. It's like the song by that singer that goes, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, stand a little taller, blah, blah, that song. You know, you are more strong when you come out the other end of these experiences. So she was doing these teachings about this, trying to think what one of the other teachings was. I can't really remember right now, but there's just a whole bunch of teachings, which it's just stuff I knew all of it. I already knew about all this stuff. But I was just blown away that this woman is world renowned. Her concerts are sold out all over the world all the time, always sold out. And she also gives, you're gonna love this, 10% of her, I think it was 10% of the cost of all the merchandise that she sells, or maybe it was, or no, I'm sorry, it was 100%, I think, of the merchandise, of what she makes on the merchandise, goes to charity, to her charity. She had a specific charity, and I think it was housing for homeless moms or women. It was something to do with helping women. Okay. But she had like a charity, and then she said it was like a certain percent of every ticket that she sold to her concert, maybe it was 10%, went to the charity. And so far, since she started doing these concert tours, she's raised $120 million for that charity. This woman is just an amazing teacher, amazing light worker. Look her up. It's Lindsay Sterling. Her name is spelled Stirling, and she's a violinist. She also sings a little. Beautiful angelic voice, sings a little, and then she's like a trained gymnast and ballerina, and she does like acrobatics in the show the whole time, and the dancing is wonderful, and there was not one satanic thing in the whole show. The beginning was just all black, like they had black clothes and black stuff, but it wasn't satanic. They weren't doing rituals on stage. They didn't have any scary masks or signs of the devil. Nobody was doing any Masonic symbolism. It's just that they had the stage black and the costumes were black, and she was showing dark to light and bringing the light into the darkness and shining it. And she kept coming on and kind of teaching us and telling us her stories, sharing her life stories. And then they had the guy that was teaching, and I'm like, oh my God, this isn't a concert. This is like a spiritual workshop. It was freaking incredible. Every person who went to that concert that day, and then of course all the concerts she's doing all over the country, are all walking away with seeds planted in them, and they're either waking up or they're on their way to waking up, or they're learning, they're already awake like myself and they're learning something new, or they're getting healing from that whole concert, because the music, all the music in this concert was healing 100%. But I went in with no expectation at all, and I was, because I didn't know enough about her, and I was really happily surprised. Sometimes you go in with no expectation and you're like, oh, this is, shitty. So let's now talk about the teaching here. So expectations. So when you have a high expectation, especially, so we're going to give some examples. Say I'm going to a new restaurant and I have this expectation that they're going to have perfect service and amazing food and wonderful ambiance and da 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 da. I'm going to get let down. Why? Because there's humans involved, and all humans are screw ups. Every human on earth is a screw up. Shit happens, okay? Bad things happen. There's a fire in the kitchen. Somebody drops dishes. Their cash register breaks. The manager's having a bad day because his wife just cheated on him. Whatever. The waitress, the same thing. The waitress is having a bad day because her boyfriend just left her or something. You never know what's going to happen. Life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. So what I do when I go to any restaurant is I just expect that I'm going to sit with my family and eat food and enjoy a meal. And then if I have wonderful service, I have wonderful food, I will be happy and I will be surprised. But if it's bad, no skin off my back, because I didn't have an expectation of it. The problem is when you have expectations, especially high expectations, you are setting yourself up for failure. You're blocking yourself, totally blocking yourself spiritually all over the place. You're lowering your frequency by being in your ego, because this is all what we call negative aspects of the ego, which you have to get rid of in order to go to 5D. You can't go to 5D if you're walking around with high expectations of everyone and everything. You can't go to 5D like that. You never will. In fact, if you continue to be that way, you will not go to 5D. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not judging anybody at all. I'm stating a fact. This is the truth. 5D is for people who have none of the negative aspects of ego, people who have cleared all their trauma, cleared all their bullshit, done all of their work, spent their whole life doing their work, clearing themselves. That's who's going to 5D. That is why I do the work I'm doing. I'm here to help you go to 5D. You have a session with me so I can help you clear the trauma. That's what we do in this session. We find out, what do you need to clear? We clear it. We give you a soul reading. We find out, what do you need to clear? We clear it. Okay. So that you can go to 5D. But you're still going to have to do work, because I am going to give you homework, and you still are going to have to be accountable and responsible, because I can't wave a wand and make you go to 5D. You have to do the work. But the fact of the matter is, the ego stuff, I can't fix that for you. I can't make you stop believing that you're better than others, that you have to compete with others, that you know more than others, that you're more important than anyone else, that you're jealous, possessive, you're cheating, you think that you're God's gift to women or men, you use your sexuality to manipulate people, whatever. All these negative aspects of ego, I can't fix that for you. That's something you have to fix. But people who don't fix that and continue on that way will not be going to 5D. They don't get to go there ever. Okay, until you get rid of all that, until you heal all that, until you become a neutral person where you're not sitting here and expecting everyone to kiss your butt everywhere you go, which is why people in France don't like Americans, and why people in Europe in general and all over the world don't like Americans. Americans are the most entitled, high expectation people on the planet. Basically a bunch of stinking snobs and rude. Americans are rude. They think the French are rude. The French are actually not rude. I've been to France twice, and both times everybody was nice to me. And that's because I was nice to them. When you treat people with love and respect, they're going to treat you with love and respect back, typically, or maybe they'll treat you with neutrality. But if you go in there having high expectations, being a snotty snood, being a control freak, being pushy, being manipulative, thinking you're more important, thinking, oh, I'm American, I'm better than everyone else. These are all negative aspects of ego, and they are all blocking you from ascending. They are blocking you from ascending. Expectations are one of the worst. You need to learn from this point forward, promise yourself that you're going to work on being neutral when you have new experiences. If you go to a concert, if you go to get gas in your car, if you go buy a new car, whatever it is you're going to do, you should just expect just the basic. You know, I'm going to go, I'm going to sit, I'm going to eat, I'm going to buy this new car, I'm going to drive it around, and hopefully it will perform the way they claim that it's going to perform. I'm going to go to the doctor, I'm going to get some blood taken out. Okay, that's it, whatever. Don't have an expectation that the nurses will be nice to you, because they never are. Don't have an expectation that the doctor is going to be nice, because they rarely are. You know, I mean, I shouldn't say the nurses never are. I know some nurses are freaking amazing. My mom, who passed away, God rest her soul, she's been gone 18 years, 17 years, something like that. She was an amazing nurse. Okay. Not all of them are like that. So going through your life every day, not having a high expectation, not being manipulative, controlling, those are all negative aspects of ego that have to go now. And if you're not willing to knock this shit off, I'm sorry, you are not going to go to the next level. Now, you might be in 4D, and I've talked about this in Ascension 101. 3D is all the negative stuff of the ego. 4D, love, compassion, kindness, oneness, unity consciousness, seeing your connectivity to all of your other brothers and sisters on earth, all the rest of humanity, all the animals, all the creatures, you know, wanting to care for all the creatures, you know, being service to others. The people, in order to stay here on the planet, you need to be 52% or more service to others, and not service to self, which is all ego stuff as well. And then all those negative aspects of ego, they got to go. What is 5D? Let's reprise all this again. I love to do refreshers in these videos and remind you again about all of this. But 5D again is your body becomes crystalline, your DNA goes to, you know, 12 strand and higher, really 48 strand and higher activation. You won't get sick anymore. You'll be reversed to age like 33 or 30 or something, and you won't get sick and die. You won't be able to get cancers, viruses, any of that kind of stuff. You will not you won't have to worry about anything. Now, can you get in an injury? Like, can you crash your car and get hurt? Yeah, you'll have to do that and go to a med bed or something and get repaired. But you're not going to die in 60 years like most of the people do, or 70 or 80 years like most of the people on Earth do now. You're going to live as much as 1,500 years if that's what you want to do. So that's 5D. The other part of 5D is being constantly in a blissful, happy state. 24/7, just always being in this really blissful, you know, happy, just being happy, peaceful, blissful all the time, having all your psychic abilities back, being able to teleport yourself, being able to use telekinesis and move objects, having telepathy, talking in your head to other people, having clairvoyance, being able to see all your family that's passed away on the other side. The veil will be down for you. You'll be able to see fairies and dragons and elves and all these creatures who actually live around us, all these multidimensional creatures who literally live around us right now. We just can't see them. You'll be able to see that. That's all 5D. 4D, though, is the love, the unity, the oneness, the compassion, the kindness, whatever. So in order to go through these different stages, you have to get rid of all the negative aspects of ego. And I have plenty of information in Ascension 101 and in my Real Fountain of Youth book, which is all about all the emotional stress and stuff on how to do this stuff. So all the answers are there for you. And if you need more help with that, you can always make a appointment with me for a private session if you need extra guidance. But it's really, really important for all of you to be doing your best to do your work right now, because what Yeshua told me was that the beings in heaven are really pissed because the white hat people and the alliance are not moving along the way they should, not fast enough. They still haven't taken down the media. Media is still pushing the pokey thing, still pushing more diseases, still pushing all kinds of stuff, still releasing poisonous mosquitoes. I mean, that's the newest thing, is Bill Gates weaponized mosquitoes that are now spreading dengue fever, chikungunya, and Zika and all these other horrible things that can actually kill you. There's and now the newest thing is ticks all over Southern California, Orange County. They have them in Orange County, California, and they have them in Chicago right now, I guess Illinois. They have these ticks that are causing some sort of a disease that gives you a fever, a headache, a rash all over, and you can actually die from it. It can go deadly. It's a typhoid. It's a type of typhus or typhoid fever, which actually wiped out. That was like one of the pandemics from back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. There were thousands of people all over America that died of typhus. And so now they're spreading it again through ticks, through fleas, through mosquitoes, all these different things. So we've got that going on. We've got war. We've got the possibility they're going to blow up Jerusalem. And yes, you heard that from me. They are going to try to do that. And then they're going to try to blame it on Iran. And then Iran, Russia, and China will be, how do you want to say, ganging up on US and Europe, and we will be in World War III. There will be crazy ass war, and it will not be good. None of it will be good. That is what they're trying for. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not putting out any fear. This is what they want to happen. And because they're going down that line, Yeshua says the beings in heaven are just really pissed. And so what he said is the solar flash they weren't going to bring it on until I think next year or the year after or something like that. But as a result of all this crazy pants stuff that's happening, and because they're not developing the way they should be, they're going to bring it on soon, much sooner. So it could happen any day now, literally. It wasn't really supposed to happen until I think it was originally supposed to happen in 2030 or something, but it's been getting moved closer and closer because of all the crazy stuff. So, anyways, he said that they're going to be bringing a lot sooner. Well, the bad news about that is once that thing hits, anybody who's not in this mostly service to others, love, unity, consciousness, they're out of here. They're gone. So any of your family's members who are hopeless, I mean, you might as well just write them off at this point. I'd just pray for them. But at this point, anyone who's not awake, you and I will not be able to wake them up. The only thing that might wake them up is a nuclear war, or is blowing up Jerusalem, or some big cataclysm that brings everyone in the world together, like the entire west coast of the US gets wiped, or and the entire New York gets wiped, or something like that. It would have to be something that brings the whole world together. That would be the only way that these people are gonna wake up. Otherwise, they're not going to ever, they will never wake up. They will go to their graves being sleepy asses. So just don't even bother with them. Just focus, stay in your own lane, work on getting rid of your own negative aspects of ego, getting more into the neutrality thing of, I'm not going to expect anything. I'm not going to go around judging things. I'm just going to be. I'm just going to live. I'm just going to enjoy. I'm going to savor every moment of my life. I'm going to try to be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. I'm going to play every day a little. I'm going to spend, an hour or more of my time every day just doing something goofy and silly, like dancing around to music, or watching comedy and laughing my head off, or walking down the beach, or playing in the waves, or building a sandcastle, or going through the forest and hugging the trees. This is what we need to focus on right now, because I need to get all of you ascended. I'm here to guide the people who are ready to ascend. I'm not here for the people like my family members who still think that I'm a crazy pants conspiracy theorist. I'm not here for those people. I'm not here for the people Bible thumping, which is such a joke, because the Bible is the most made up thing in the history of mankind. I mean, I've told you all about this over and over. There were originally 777 books. They took out 711 of them. The 66 that they had left, they wrote it up to use it as a control mechanism to enslave and control all of you. There are a few helpful phrases and sentences and stories in that Bible. There's a few things in there that are good, but most of it has all been contrived to keep you under the thumb of the cabal. So all those religions, none of them were ever supposed to exist. They're all coming down. I'm not favorable towards any specific religion. Okay. Christianity, bye bye. Judaism, bye bye. Islam, bye bye. Even Buddhism, bye bye, because all of these were all created. There's not supposed to be that. What is there supposed to be? Shamanism. Honestly, Native American, their religion, what they do, the shamanic stuff, the more nature stuff, Wicca, Druidism, anything where, the Essene stuff, the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, that's really the kind of stuff we're supposed to be doing, which is more spiritual practices. The spiritual practices, a lot of the aspects of Buddhism will remain, but it's been taken over, unfortunately, just like everything else. The fundamentals of Buddhism, of all of it, a lot of that will stay because Buddha and Yeshua taught the same things. So being kind, compassionate, loving, forgiving, all that was all stuff, Sangha, community, all that kind of stuff that they do in Buddhism. A lot of the teachings, the Dharma and the teachings that they have, that's all really good. But there are some aspects of it that are not good because the cabal infiltrated that religion just like they infiltrated all of the other religions and messed it all up. Trying to think what else I want to share. But anyways, I think that's pretty good. That I think you have the main idea here, the fact that you need to be doing the work on yourself. You need to be spending time every day meditating, connecting to Creator, which is what Yeshua was here doing. He was here not only meditating himself every day and connecting to Creator, but trying to teach you all how to do that. That's what he wanted you to do. He wanted every person on the earth to have a personal relationship with their own higher self, their own soul, and with the Creator, and with their guides and angels and the heavens, have that spiritual connection. And that was really what he was. And he was also here to, just like Buddha, to teach love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, divine masculine, feminine balance, which is what he did with Miriam. They were both teaching that divine masculine, feminine energy balance. That is the stuff that everyone all over the world is really supposed to be doing and embracing, not all these other, not these religions and all this other crazy stuff that they use to control you with dogma and doctrine. And I do have a video. I don't know which one it is because I've got like 200 of them in there. You'll have to go down through my videos, but it's several down the list. There's a video where I explain the difference between religion and spirituality. Please go watch that if you haven't, because it's really important to understand what are the fundamental differences between religions and spirituality, because they're two completely different things. You can be religious and spiritual at the same time, or you can be just spiritual, or you could be just religious and not spiritual. So they can overlap, but they're different. They're completely different. And they can be synergistic with each other. They can work together. I'm a good example of that. Up until 7-8 years ago, I was a diehard Catholic, and I was also always spiritual because I've been spiritual since I was born. I was born psychic, so I've always been spiritually connected to Creator. And people say, well, if you were so psychic, why were you in the Catholic Church? Well, my answer to that is because Yeshua allowed me to go through that experience so that I can now expose all of them, because now I'm out as a truther, bringing disclosure as to who they are, what they've been doing to you all, why they're doing it, and busting them. I'm here to bust them. I'm here to bust up all the religions and stuff. So in order for me to be able to do what I'm doing now, I needed to experience what they are teaching and what it is that they're perpetrating. I had to go through all of the hoops and try all that out, try it on for size, so that I can fight it. Because it's just like Mr. T, who you guys are all rooting for, in order for him to fight the cabal, he had to go hang out with them for a while to get to know them. Know thy enemy in order to beat thy enemy. Keep your enemy close at hand. That's all in the Art of War, or Sun Tzu. It's like all in that Art of War playbook. But in order for me to fight the church and to expose them for all the evil, because they're basically really Luciferians, they really worship Lucifer and Satan and Baphomet and Baal, and they do sacrificing and raping and all kinds of stuff. In order for me to expose this, I had to go in as like almost an undercover agent, not knowing I was an undercover agent, and really get to know them from the inside out. And now I'm here, and that is why my book, Walking with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, is not on Amazon or in any bookstore or on any printed place, because I'm exposing so much shit about the church in there that it could get me into a lot of trouble. So if you want that book, it's on my website. I've got all three. I got links to all three of my books on my website. But the one about Yeshua is only through me. It's a PDF that you download, whereas the other two you can get printed through Amazon, because they don't have any stuff in there that's really controversial at all. In fact, my Real Fountain of can't even talk. My Real Fountain of Youth book was actually endorsed by hundreds of doctors. In fact, I had so many hundreds of testimonials from doctors, like actual MDs, chiropractors, naturopaths. So many endorsements for that. Even though there's some spiritual things in there, like, past lives and, that kind of thing. I do have spiritual stuff in there, but it was very much about healing the body, mind, and spirit. So I had a lot of endorsements. I have about 6 pages of them in the beginning of the book, and it would have been like 500 pages if I would have put them all in there. But both of these books are very helpful to pretty much everyone, because they're going to cover all of your basic learning needs right now, which are really important. So I need to go get some water. My throat is like super dry from fire. Well, first of all, we have fires burning all around, and the smoke in the air is not really good for us here right now. And then the air conditioner, because it's 98 degrees today or something like that. So the air conditioner just coming on. So my throat is just dried out, really dried out. So I'm going to go have some lemon water with a pinch of Celtic sea salt from south of France. And I will see all of you on the next video. I hope this was helpful, and you can always email me or reach me through my website if you have a quick question. If you have a lot of questions or a really long question, you're going to have to make an appointment. And if you're expecting me, if the question is wanting me to tune into you to give you a personal answer, you have to do a session. If it's just a general kind of spiritual question or question about the earth or religion or metaphysics, crystals, anything like that, I can answer it. But if you're asking me a question, sending me a message saying, can you tune into me and tell me what classes am I supposed to take or something like that, I can't answer that for you. You got to figure that out on your own. Otherwise, or you need to make an appointment with me to have a private session. Really important for you to do that if you want me to actually tune into you and specify specific information for you. So because I can't just tune into people like that. I have to actually prepare myself. It takes a while. I have to ground and center and protect myself. I have to do a whole little ritual to get ready, and then I have to clear myself between clients so I don't take other people's energy into your session, and so on and so forth. So it takes a lot of work. So that's why I can't just answer you just like that about personal things. So please hang in there, and I love you all, and I'll see you on the next video.